Welcome to English Grammar, the Phrase, Part 2. In this second part, we're going to discuss the gerund, the infinitive, and the appositive. Don't worry, folks. This is all part of it. These simple terms sound strange, but they're really easy to understand. A gerund is a verb form ending in ing. That's all you need to know about it. Run, that's a verb. Running is using the gerund as a verb form. Run, that's a verb. It's to move, to run around. My son runs around. But running, ing, and now you have a gerund form. There it is. There's the gerund form, and it's used as a noun. So it's pretty easy. Jacob is running across the yard. Well, there it is, the gerund form. The gerund is a verb form ending in ing that is used as a noun. Let's look at an example. Walking is healthful exercise. Well, some might think that might be a preposition, but it's not, because walking is the actual subject of the sentence. Exercise being the verb. So what is exercise? What is the exercise? Well, walking. Healthful, also talking about walking. So walking is the form of the verb walk. And as the subject of the sentence is used as a noun. Walking is a noun in this sentence. So it's a gerund. A gerund is a verbal noun. It may be used just as a noun may be used. Okay? So a gerund can be used as a noun. Let's look at a few more examples. Good writing comes from much practice. Well, automatically, here's what you need to look for, the ing again. All right, but recognize that this whole sentence here is talking about writing. This whole thing is talking, everything is pointing to writing. Okay? Writing is what this whole sentence is about. What kind of writing? Good writing. Comes from much practice. What comes from much practice? Writing. All these things are pointing back to that one word, writing. But writing has that ing, so you can automatically begin looking. If it's not a participle phrase, then it is a gerund, which is a verb form that is used exactly like a noun. So writing is used as the subject. They do not appreciate my singing. Oh no. Oh no. Somebody didn't appreciate my singing? I think I have a lovely singing voice. But I'm sure that there are some people that do not appreciate my singing. This whole sentence is all about singing. We recognize the word by the ing, and knowing that whole thing, that whole word, singing, right there, is the whole subject. It's the whole object. It's all about what they do not appreciate. Appreciate actually is the verb here. Appreciate. Appreciate is the action of they. They do not appreciate what? My singing. So, one more time. By studying, you can pass this course or the course. Okay, so by studying, ing, look for it. Again, this is the subject. It's the object of the preposition. The course. The course is actually what it is. It's actually the preposition. Pass the course is actually the preposition. But in this particular case, pass the course is the preposition, and studying is the object. How do you plan on passing the course? By studying. So there you go. And who studies? You are studying, and you will pass the course. So you see, these words don't just add some pretty little flavor. They don't just add some kind of meaning. They describe something specific. They give you a greater understanding of what's going on. They're doing something in the sentence, either as the subject or the object or the object of the preposition. They are doing something pretty dramatic in the sentence. A gerund phrase is a phrase consisting of a gerund, which is a word with an ing, and any complements or modifiers it may have. Carrying coals to Newcastle is a traditional example of the unnecessary. Well, first, let's find the gerund. How do you find it? Oh, that ing, gerund. You need to kind of stick this one in your head. So carrying coals to Newcastle. So carrying coals, what is being carried? The coals. Coals are being carried. Where are they being carried? To Newcastle. See how it is? It is a full-on phrase. And so then you look for the verb is a traditional example. What is a traditional example? Carrying coals. Everything kind of points back to coals. Coals is what it's about. But carrying has coals as its direct object. So coals is the direct object, and it is modified by the adverb phrase to Newcastle. Writing that letter was a good idea. Well, again, looking for that ing, so key to everything we're doing with the gerund. Writing that letter was a good idea. What was a good idea? Writing. Writing is the subject. What was it? That letter. That letter is the thing that we're talking about. The letter was a good idea. There's that. Writing that letter was the gerund phrase. Writing that letter. It could be simply this. This is your gerund phrase right here. Writing that letter. Everything else, it just gives back to that letter. Writing that letter. See? Everything's connected. The gerund phrase as a subject. So writing that letter is the subject of this whole sentence. My cousin enjoys working as a lifeguard. So working as a lifeguard is the direct object. That phrase. Who? My cousin, working as a lifeguard. If you struck out this word and struck out the ing and just put an S, my cousin works as a lifeguard. Same kind of thing. But in this particular case, we're using a gerund phrase, working as a lifeguard, and it is the direct object of my cousin. My cousin working as a lifeguard. We were fined for parking there. So parking, looking for that ing right there. Looking for that ing. Now, parking there. It's also talking about a preposition. It's talking for is the preposition. It comes before the gerund phrase, for parking there. So, what happened? We were, that's the verb, fined, that's also part of it. That's a verb phrase. That's the action. We were fined for parking there. So the gerund phrase as the object of the preposition. Her most publicized achievement was winning 3 gold medals. 3. So, her, whoever her is in this particular sentence, is the subject. Her most publicized achievement. We're talking about this achievement. The achievement is the is the predicate, is the subject. Her most publicized achievement. And now what is, there's the was is the verb, winning 3 gold medals. The gerund phrase as a predicate nominative. It gives further information about this achievement. What was this achievement? Her most publicized. It was very publicized, but it was winning 3 gold medals. The infinitive is a verb form, usually preceded by to, that can be used as a noun or a modifier. Remember, a noun is a person, place, or thing, and a modifier gives or adds or lends meaning to the verb form. Okay? And it is preceded by the word to. So when you're looking for an infinitive, look for that word, to. That little word kind of gives you a ding ding. It tells you, hey, look here. Here comes an infinitive. Let's look at some examples. To study, to write, to hope, to be. Those are all examples of infinitives. Why? It's a verb form that's used to, that could be a noun. An infinitive is generally used as a noun, but it may also be used as an adjective or an adverb. Isn't that fascinating how they can just be interchanged with other parts of speech, like adjectives and adverbs? Remember, adjectives assist nouns and pronouns, and adverbs assist verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. So multiple parts of speech doing all different kinds of things, but an infinitive is generally used as a noun, while it can be used as other parts of speech. Now, the infinitive used as a noun. Let's look at a couple of these. To leave would be rude. Well, first, look for the word to, okay? To is a very important indicator that an infinitive is coming. The following word, leave, right here, is the infinitive. To leave would be rude. Oh, there's the verb, would be. There's your verb, and that's what would be happening. So the infinitive, to leave, as subject is the subject, because what is it? It's doing. To leave. That person is leaving. Would be rude. So those ideas, that's the infinitive. Let's look at the second example. No one wants to stay. Now, we've all been there to those situations where they're just kind of socially awkward, and you just kind of you're going, well, this party was a flop, or this meeting was a flop, and sometimes I've even been to staff meetings and different things where I'm just sitting there going, man, couldn't they have just given us all this information in a simple, quick, bullet-pointed email? Well, in this particular sentence, no one wants to stay. Well, again, looking for that keyword to, then pointing to the following word, stay, is the infinitive. Now, the infinitive here is a direct object. It is the direct object right here. So no one, being the group of people, wants to stay. And also in the third example given here, her goal is to win. Well, I don't think anybody's goal is to lose, but her goal is to win. Her being the subject, goal being the outcome, is to win. Well, you got to look for that word to, and win is the following word. That's the infinitive. Now, this infinitive comes at the very end of the sentence and talks all about her goal. Her goal is to win. Her goal. Everything points to the win. And what is the win? It's her goal. The infinitive is also used as an adjective. Okay, remember the adjective modifies or assists nouns and pronouns. So she, being a pronoun, she is the candidate to watch. Well, the infinitive modifies candidate. Why? Because that's what it is. She is the candidate, and to is the word for the infinitive, and the infinitive then modifies candidate. What is the world doing? They are watching the candidate. They are to watch the candidate. We came to cheer. The infinitive is also used as an adverb. We came to cheer. Remember, look for the key word, then you find your infinitive, then you can figure out what this word, cheer, is doing. So what is this word modifying? Well, it's modifying came. We came to what? To cheer. These words work simultaneously. They balance each other out. They give each other meaning and purpose. Because after all, if you struck out to cheer, it's not there. We came doesn't make any sense. And at the same time, if you strike out we came, to cheer doesn't make any sense. So they actually need each other. They need to be together. And cheer, in this particular sense, is an adverb. It is an action that we did, but we came to cheer. So the infinitive modifies the verb came. So let's talk about infinitives and prepositional phrases. All right, so an infinitive would be to go or to sleep, while prepositional phrases are to them, to bed. Prepositional phrases are a little more specific sometimes. The word to, called the sign of the infinitive, is sometimes omitted. Now, I hate to do this to you because it's kind of like pulling the rug out from under your feet. I just told you that the word to here is often found in front of the infinitive, and so you should be looking for it. But that's not always true, and I hate to say that to you because I really do feel bad for you, because now you have to start thinking about the language as you read. So let me give you some examples of how this works. The clowns made her laugh. We use infinitives all the time in our language, and sometimes we leave words out when there should be words, and we take words, we put words where they shouldn't be. Sometimes when we're speaking, even a English speaker can make these simple mistakes. But in this particular case, the clowns made her to laugh. Well, that would be fine, and it's still proper English. And help me to clean the car is perfectly fine English, but you do not have to use them. You can take out the word to, and you still know that clean and laugh are infinitives. The clown made her laugh. Well, help me clean the car. I do that all the time with my wife and my son. I go, help me clean the car. But I could also say, help me to clean the car. Both of them are grammatically correct and are easily done either way. There would not be any points off if you were writing a sentence or writing a paragraph and you used the word, but you don't have to, and that's the joy and the beauty of using some infinitives. But you should not get comfortable with the recognition of the word to. of these words. Don't always assume the to is going to be there, because it may not be. If you're wanting to diagram and you're wanting to know what laugh and clean are, well, then you have to look at the whole sentence. You have to just kind of recognize it. And so that's one of the little tricky parts about pulling the rug out from under your feet, is because to could be there, and often is, but sometimes they are omitted. Now, an infinitive phrase consists of an infinitive and any complements or modifiers it may have. Well, that's pretty funny, because an infinitive phrase consists of an infinitive. Really, seems a little redundant, but that is your key when you want to begin to label and to classify phrases, which are just groups of words, not complete thoughts yet. It's not a sentence, it's just a few words. But if you want to begin classifying these things, then what you have to do is look for an infinitive. And if you see an infinitive in the phrase, then you can pretty much guarantee that it is an infinitive phrase. So, but also look for its complements and its modifiers. Let's look at a few examples. They promise to return soon. Well, here we go again. There's that magic key word, that magic sign, to return. Who is returning soon? They. They promise. They are returning soon. Soon is an adverb modifying the infinitive to return. Soon is doing this over here. Soon is talking about the return. Okay? We have time to walk to the concert. The prepositional phrase to the concert modifies the infinitive walk. Now, wasn't that kind of strange? So we do have a prepositional phrase right here, to the concert. But all this is really talking about is the walk. And we recognize it because we again have that to as the sign, and there is your infinitive. Okay? I saved enough money to buy a car. Again, looking at to and buy a car. Buy a car is a prepositional phrase. Car, this is the object of buy, of to buy. So, I saved enough money to buy a car. What are you doing? You're buying a car. Like infinitives alone, infinitive phrases can be used as nouns or as modifiers. Well, there they go again. Person, place, or thing. So they can be used just like that. Let's look at a couple of examples. We tried to reason with her. So there you go. There's that sign again. To reason with her is the entire infinitive phrase. To reason with her is the object of the verb tried. See, tried is what they're doing. To reason with her is adding fuller meaning. It's giving more explanation than maybe what was there. We tried with her. You could easily say that. We tried with her. But what did we try with her? We tried to reason. We tried to grab her attention. We tried to talk some sense into her. All those things, to talk some sense into her, is another infinitive phrase. We tried to reason with her. There must be a way to solve this problem. The infinitive phrase modifies the noun way. All right, so there's the noun. Here comes the sign of the of the infinitive phrase. So to solve this problem. So just kind of look for it and then break it down from there. To solve this problem. Well, what are we doing? We have to solve this problem. And what is it that we're trying to solve? The way. There must be a way to solve this problem. So it's modifying the noun way. His plan is to go to college for 2 years. Well, let's talk about where is the infinitive phrase. First of all, his plan. That is what everything is referring back to. You have a plan. I have a plan. So let's talk about his plan. His plan is what's being spoken about. Okay? Right here in this nice little thing. But here, to go to college for 2 years. That's actually the entire infinitive phrase. To go to college is the entire infinitive phrase. It follows the verb is. Is the verb. And to go to college for 2 years. That's all talking about his plan, which is a predicate nominative. Unlike other verbals, an infinitive may have a subject as well as complements and modifiers. Everyone expected Gina to win the nomination. Okay, first of all, Gina is a proper noun. That's a first name. It is a proper noun. So it's a name, so it automatically you can almost always bet that if you see a person's name, that is going to be the subject of the sentence. Gina is the subject of the infinitive to win. Look at this. So to win is, well, win is actually the infinitive. To is the sign of the infinitive. It goes boom, boom, boom. But all of this, who's going to win? It's not everybody. No. We're talking about Gina. Gina is the one to win. So Gina is the subject of the infinitive to win. We asked her to lead the discussion. Her is the subject of the infinitive to lead. Okay? Because, again, when you're looking at infinitives, you're looking at further explanation. Her, she's the one that we're talking about, really. Oh, yes, I know we got this little we over here, but we are not really what's important about the sentence. We're talking about everything beyond this point. Her to lead the discussion. Her is the subject of the infinitive to lead. We believe Andrew to be the winner. Andrew is the subject. Again, first name, first proper noun. Andrew is the subject of the infinitive to be, because there we go, to be. It's perfectly fine to have a verb to be as the infinitive. Winner is a predicate nominative referring to Andrew. So here, look at this. This is really funny. So in this one sentence, we believe in Andrew. To be is pointing back, and that's the infinitive. And the winner is the predicate nominative. All of these things are pointing back to the subject, which is Andrew. Pretty fascinating how you can, as you start to learn these particular things, as you review what I'm teaching you here, then you can begin to analyze and to sculpt and to diagram all these things as you're reading, which bring context and bring meaning and just help you to explore the language. Language is more than just slapping a few words on a page or speaking a few things out loud. No, it's a science. It is an art. It has to be crafted, and it needs to be crafted well. And that's a lot of the reason that we are teaching English grammar. So I found it to be difficult. Well, it is the subject of the infinitive to be. Again, we're talking about that silly little verb, be, being right there, but to being the sign of that word, of that infinitive. But difficult is the predicate, adjective, referring back to it. So everything, in this particular case, the pronoun it is being used. We're not exactly sure what it is. It's probably a weak pronoun, but it nonetheless is the subject of the infinitive to be. How do we know that be is the infinitive? Because it has the sign to. Difficult, however, is a predicate nominative. It comes after the infinitive, and predicate adjective, because it's describing it. It's giving further value and meaning to it, explanation to what it is. I found it to be difficult. Well, it is obviously difficult. The appositive. An appositive is a noun or pronoun, often with modifiers, set beside another noun or pronoun to explain or identify it. Okay. Again, another fancy smancy dictionary definition of this particular part of speech or this particular part of grammar. An appositive is nothing more than a noun or pronoun, and it just gives added description, added complement to something before it. Okay, so it's here. Let's just take a look, and it makes it real simple. My cousin Maria is an accomplished violinist. Well, in this particular case, you don't have to have Maria. Maria could be scratched out. My cousin is an accomplished violinist. However, in this particular sentence, adding her name, Maria, adding this proper noun, is an appositive because it's now giving specific identification to your cousin. It's not just any random cousin. It's my cousin Maria. And what is she? She's an accomplished violinist. She plays the violin. So my cousin Maria is an accomplished violinist. Maria then becomes an appositive because it's a specific name talking about a specific cousin who's also talking about an accomplished violinist. All right, so here comes a funny one. Now, this is a pretty easy way to remember it because oftentimes an appositive is found in the middle of two commas. So it's that added beefy explanation. Riboflavin, comma, a vitamin, comma, is found in leafy vegetables. Well, what are we talking about? We could just strike that out. Riboflavin is found in leafy vegetables. It's true. It really is. It is a vitamin that is found in leafy vegetables. But to give added detail and meaning, we're going to use this appositive, a vitamin. And it's just adding more definition and description to riboflavin. But also, it's adding more right here. You could strike out riboflavin and look, a vitamin is found in leafy vegetables. That's true. But without them working together, riboflavin, a vitamin, is found in leafy vegetables. It just gives deeper, more full meaning. An appositive phrase is a phrase consisting of an appositive and its modifiers. Here we go. My brother's car, a sporty red hatchback with bucket seats, is the envy of my friends. Now, isn't that fun? Now, in positive, use like this in nice little added detail. You know, you don't even have to have them, but they do beef up your sentences. They give a lot of interest to what you're reading. I mean, if you didn't use the positives occasionally, well, the stuff you would be writing about would be pretty boring. I love to read books that really get my imagination going. But the only way that my imagination will get going is with really deep, rich, descriptive words, like a sporty red, and that's supposed to be red, R-E-D, not read. A sporty red hatchback with bucket seats. That describes that car. I can almost close my eyes, and I bet you could too, and think about a sporty red hatchback with bucket seats. A car with sporty red hatchbacks with bucket seats. I mean, you could almost visualize it. But in all honesty, you don't have to have it. My brother's car is the envy of my friends. Well, yes, it could be, but here we go. When you add a sporty red hatchback with bucket seats, all of a sudden, boom, it gives such a big meaning. And that's the power of using appositives. And a positive phrase usually follows the word it explains or identifies, but it also can, and sometimes does, precede it. So it comes before. It usually follows and comes after, but it can also come before. Let's look at a few examples. Once a pagan feast, Valentine's Day is now celebrated as a day of love. Now, so looking at this, you could simply say once a feast. Okay, feast here is the appositive because it's giving a description. You could say once a pagan holiday, Valentine's Day is now celebrated as a day of love. You could say that, but now it's giving description to a specific what was the pagan activity, the feast, and that's your appositive. Valentine's Day is now celebrated as a day of love, but it used to be a pagan feast, and it comes following.